offer the data science related technologies. Hope all of you can hear me, guys. Can you please confirm is I'm audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, guys. So, guys, today is the first session for you. I'll tell you about that. Actually, I'll tell you about our program and all these things. I'll tell you. But anyhow, for you guys, it is going to be the first session for you. So I just want to take a couple of classes actually, guys. A couple of classes means maybe 3 days. I want to take some kind of a demo sessions. So where I'm going to introduce something about like what is data science? Why do you require? That means what the clients are expecting from these data science related technologies. So what are the main important concepts which we have to learn? The main areas which we have to concentrate about that. Just before going to this, guys, just before starting with that, I just want to know how much extent you know about what is data science. I'm not expecting anything like you should be answering it correctly. What do you what you know about a data science, or what you are trying to understand what is about the data science? Can anyone, guys? Anyone? Can you come, please come forward and you can have a small points of discussion. Anyone?
Yes, sir. Actually, data science is a like multidisciplinary field where
Mm,
we like use multiple tech stack to solve a particular business problem, which can involve cloud,
mm,
statistics, and Python as a
mm,
programming language.
mm, mm, mm.
And then
Okay.
we can, yeah,
Okay. Any core areas of this data science? Like what are the different concepts which you have to learn in this data science?
yes, a machine learning we
Yes,
have to
yes.
learn
Okay,
for
okay,
implement.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yes, absolutely, guys. The terms, because yeah, guys, nowadays really it has been becoming a common knowledge to everyone actually. Everybody has to know about this data science. So like in some earlier days, they used to talk about something about C language, how C language should be commonly learned by everybody. Nowadays, independent of whether you are in whether you are from bachelor's or whether you are from engineering or whether you are from a BCom or it may be a MBA or even it may be a civil engineer, whether it may be anybody. Nowadays, it is becoming a common skill actually, guys. In coming future, nowadays, even you may have seen if you have been as a coming as a fresh graduate from your colleges. So whenever they are conducting some kind of, and whenever there is some kind of an campus recruitment is going on, so as part of their recruitment test also, they are adding some skills related to the data analysis. Okay, some kind of an data analysis questions or some kind of an the problems like what is going to be deep learning. They're adding some kind of a questions to them actually to just to test it how much extent you are aware about this particular data science concept actually. So it has been become a common skill actually. It everybody has to nowadays, everybody has to have this particular knowledge about that, because everywhere we are working with the data, guys. Everywhere we are working with the data. It's not only that data means only banks will have a data. Nowadays, not only banks, everywhere we are going to be having a data. Everywhere we are having a data. Even for example, for example, let us talk about a mechanical engineer. So a mechanical engineer is going to works with the machines. Nowadays, everything has been become automated. At how much speed that particular machine is rotating, how much torque it is generating, how much the input power it is taking actually, something like that. Everywhere we are working about a data, so there is some data generated by the machines actually. So whenever a machine is going to be running, for example, if I talk about for example some kind of an the flights, whenever the flights will travel, there are going to generate a lot of data. For every 1 hour of travel, it is going to generate some kind of a terabytes of data is going to be generated actually, guys. Okay, so imagine that within 6 months of time how much data it is going to be generating. So we are not talking about, so as part of our data science, we are not bothered about how the data storage is there. We are not talking about the data storage actually, guys. Where it is stored, how it will be stored. We don't talk about the data storages. That will be taken care by the data engineers, or it may be a database experts. Those people are going to be taking about that. Even we are not talking about how to process the data actually, guys, which is going to be data processing. That is also we are not talking about that. So storage of data, processing of data, these are going to be generally done by the role called as, which is going to be what we are generally calling it as, which is going to be data engineers. Now, data engineering also has been became a very a popular role actually, guys, which is having a very huge demand as of now. So coming to the data storages, you should be knowing about some kind of a systems like anything like which is going to be database systems we have to talk about, or some kind of an cloud storages we have to talk about, or some kind of a big data systems we have to talk about that. Coming to data processing also, we have to learn something about big data systems. Okay, using big data, you can store as well as we can process the data. Nowadays, one of the very popular framework which are going to be gets working for data processing is going to be a Spark actually, guys. That is going to be what the data engineering roles are going to be doing it actually, guys. There are data engineering roles actually. But coming to our role, it is going to be what we are going to call it as a data science role actually, guys. It is going to be data science role actually. So data science is going to be nothing but we are not interested to learn about how to store the data or how to process the data. Our main role is to, guys, data science is all about doing some kind of an analysis, a data analysis, or what we can say that it is going to be understanding the data actually. Then you may get a doubt, sir, if it is becoming only you're talking about analysis, then why don't you call it as a data analyst? Why you are calling it as a data science? We are going to call about that. Data analysis means it is only all about understanding the data, but data science is not only about analyzing the data or understanding the data. Based on this analysis the data, you can do some kind of an predictions also what we can do it actually, guys. We can do some kind of a predictions what we are going to be doing it actually. So understand the data, analyze your data, and based on that, we are going to be doing some kind of a predictions. So what has been happened in the past, analyze it. What could happen in the future? That is what we are going to be doing as part of this particular data science. As somebody has been said, I didn't remember your name, I didn't see your name. So somebody said that it is going to be one of an interdisciplinary field. Why it is called as an interdisciplinary field means it is not like learning a single skill or learning a single technology, and we cannot say that I can enter into data science. Learning a data science is all about learning some different skills. We have to learn it actually. Different skills. Inside that, data analysis is going to be one skill actually, guys. It is only one skill. I'm not saying that if you learn a data analysis, you are going to become a data scientist. So the guys who are working on data science is going to be what we are going to call them as, and data scientists we are going to call them as actually. But it's not only one skill of analysis. There are multiple skills that are going to be gets required actually, guys. Here, just to make you understand this particular concept, to analyze this particular data, we are going to be taking some help of the machines actually, guys. Machine means it is nothing but it is not any machine means it is not going to be something like a mechanical device or something like that. Machine means it is your computer. Machine means it is going to be nothing but it is your computer actually, guys. So what we are going to do is we are going to take the help of the machines now. What the machines are saying is you give me the data, I am going to analyze and I am going to understand the data. So machines are saying that, see guys, analysis is nothing but what we are going to do that. What we are going to do that. Somebody has given the data to us and we are going to analyze that particular data actually, guys. We are just analyzing the data actually. But here the main skill is going to be nothing but, guys, we are taking the help of the machines. Machines are capable to learn from the data actually. So that particular technique is nothing but what we are going to call it as a machine learning actually, guys. Actually, data science contains so many other skills are going to be required. So, but if you want to understand all the other skills, first of all, we have to understand what do you mean to say about a data? What is meaning of a machine learning actually? So learning about data science is going to be, as I told you, there are multiple skills are going to be there, which we are going to study them later, actually, guys. As I told I'm going to take somewhere around 3 days of demos. I'll take it actually. And then if you attend that particular 3 demo classes, then you are going to understand it. Like, what do you mean to say data science? What is machine learning? All these things, it will take some time actually, guys. Just within one day, you cannot completely understand what do you mean to say data science actually. Just give me a second, guys. Just give me a second. Yeah. So then let us make it understand. Let us take some 2 classes actually, guys, to make you understand what do you mean to say about a machine learning actually. So the name itself is suggesting actually, guys. The name itself is suggesting, saying that machine learning actually. What do you mean to say machine learning means? Machines are going to learn from the data. They are going to learn them actually, guys. So what the machines are saying is, whenever you are trying to analyze your data, instead of you doing the analysis, you give the data to us. You give the data to us. Machines are going to learn by themselves. We are going to learn from them, and we are going to tell you what is the data, how is the data. Based on that, we can do some kind of a predictions. So machine learning is all about giving the data to the machine, guys. Giving the data to the machine, and machine is going to learn the data. That is what it has been learned, is what we are going to call it as insights. Based on that insights, we can do some kind of a predictions actually. Once again, guys, machine learning is going to be nothing but the task is. Let me tell you about what is data science later, guys. For the timing, I'm just going to tell you about what is going to be about a machine learning first of all. After that, we'll discuss about the remaining points actually. Remaining things, we are going to discuss it later actually, guys. So give the data to the machine. Machine is going to studies the data, and it is going to get some kind of an insights. Based on that particular insights, we can do some kind of a predictions actually, guys. That is what the simple machine learning talks about that. So don't think that, sir, if everything is done by the machine, then what is going to be our work actually, guys? What is going to be our work? We'll discuss it, guys. We'll discuss it. Okay. Yes. I think who has been anyone, guys? Can you tell me some simple use case of machine learning in the real applications, guys? Anyone? One small use case? Anyone?
Bank fraud detection.
Okay, bank fraud detections. Okay. Okay, guys. I'll tell you in the easiest way. I'm going to tell you about a small example, but I'm not taking a bank fraud detection. Okay, it is also going to come under the fraud detection only, but fraud means there are two things actually, guys. A transaction is going to be a fraud transaction. That is going to be, we know that. Or an insurance company, we call them as an fraud claims, we are going to call it as. That means the claim is not occurred actually, but it has been fraud. That means it is going to be wrongly, they have been said that we have to claim this particular insurance. That is going to be nothing but a kind of a false claims, or which is going to be a false claims, what we are going to call it as. Okay, in the easiest way, I'll tell you the example, guys. Okay, so please try to interact too, guys. Just don't be dumb. You try to just interact with me so that it is an online class. So why you have been opted for the online classes actually, guys? It is due to, actually we have started initially due to the COVID restrictions, we have been started. But after the COVID restrictions has been relaxed. So guys are the participants, I think you, all of you, we are based in Hyderabad. But I think so all of you guys are not from Hyderabad. Maybe maximum 80% or at least 70-60%, you are going to be out of Hyderabad actually. So that really this COVID has brought a change in the way we are, this trainings has been became a completely change. So now guys are connecting not only from all over the India, so all over the world we are connecting actually, guys. Even some guys are there from Denmark. Okay, somebody is going to be from Netherlands. We have some participants are there. So it has been brought an opportunity to connect, to create a platform which are going to be gets connecting actually. So it is not a kind of a video training. It is a live instructor-led class only. So please be interactive actually, guys. Okay. Let us talk about a banking example. I'm taking a same banking example as somebody has suggested. Let us talk about an example of an loans department actually, guys. Loans department. So what is a loans department will do in a bank is basically, you know, that they will give the loans to the customers. Not only giving the loans, they have to verify whether the customers are paying the loans promptly or not. So simply their responsibility is not only just to give the loans. So customer applied the loan and just not only giving the loans. So we have to verify, we have to have a complete observation about whether the customers are paying the EMIs promptly or not. We know them. Who are not paying the EMIs promptly, they are called as defaulters. We don't call them as frauders. Fraud means there are different cases. Fraud means who is going to do some, that means they will give some kind of an fraud documents or a wrong documents or something like that. They will get a loan in a different way. Okay, in a wrong way, if we get the claims, that is going to be what we can call it as fraud. They are not frauders actually. Defaulters and non-defaulters, we are going to call them as actually. Who are defaulters, who are non-defaulters, we know them. Defaulters are nothing but who does not pay the EMS promptly, and non-defaulters are nothing but who is going to pay the EMS promptly. Those are called as defaulters and non-defaulters. Now the main target here is the banks are giving the loans. The banks are giving the loans, but how they are giving the loans? They are collecting some lot of information like what is the age of the customer, what is going to be the gender of the customer, and how much salary he is getting actually. Okay. And how much loan amount it is going to be there, loan amount, and how much duration of the loan amount. They are taking a lot of information. I'm not writing all those things actually, guys. A lot of information will be there. So whenever a customer applies a loan, they will collect all this information. They will first collect actually, guys. They'll collect all this kind of an information. First of all, they are going to be collecting all this kind of an information like age, gender, salary, amount, duration. Something age 28, like gender is going to be male, salary is going to be 50K, loan amount is let us say 5 lakhs, duration is going to be let us say 48 months, etc., etc. And there is another column is there, which is going to be something called as a status. That means what is the status of this customer loan account? He has paid the EMS promptly, so he is a non-defaulter. For example, a customer who didn't pay the promptly, he is going to be what we are going to call it as he paid, let us say that 36 months is loan duration. After taking the loan for 1 year, they have paid the loan. After 1 year, they stopped paying the loans actually. They are called as a defaulters. So what is happening here is, guys, any idea, guys? How much percentage of defaulters will be there in a banking applications, guys? Any ideas? Any assumption or anything like any idea about that? How much percentage of defaulters will be there in a banking? Yes. Any assumptions, guys? Can you guess it?
So they will be less as compared to non-defaulters.
Non-default, obviously. Let us say that how much percentage it could be. It could be
5 to 10%.
absolutely. It may be somewhere around 5 to 10%, or maybe somewhere around 10 to 15%. There is a defaulters will be there actually, guys. Generally, defaulters will be there. No bank is running as of now. Even it may be any banks. Even in US also we have them. So even the government is going to be very, even the banks are also very hard in giving that particular, even complete verification is done also. In US also, so many companies, so many persons are going to be becomes defaulters actually. So let us say that we are having 10-15% of defaulters are there actually. But we cannot assume, we cannot identify them. In real applications, we cannot really identify. But looking at this data, today we are giving a loan. Today only we cannot identify, or we cannot identify him that he would become a defaulter or he would become a non-defaulter in the future. It's impossible to identify that. So today's his financial status is good because we know that the financial status is going to be changes over the time period. For example, today this person, let us take this example. He is a employee. Let us say that he has been employee actually. Okay. He is working a good salary. Let us say that he is earning, for example, a 1 lakh for a month. He is going to be 1 lakh per a month. He is going to be earning actually, guys. Example, I'm talking about that. So he's having a good salary. He was working in a good company. So the bank has given some loan. He has been given. Let us say that somewhere around 25 lakhs of loan he has been given, depending on his particular current, whatever the salary. But what happens, we know them. Let us say that over a time period, let us say that after 1 year of paying the EMIs, let us say that he has lost his job or he has been left his job. He was having some interest in business. He has been left his job. He has been left his job. So after he left the job, he has been went into some business and business was lost. Then automatically he was unable to pay the EMS actually. The banks cannot restrict. For example, if employees left leaving the company, the banks cannot restrict him, saying that, sir, we have a bank loan, don't allow him to leave the company. The banks cannot restrict him actually, isn't it? So financial status will changes. Financial status will changes actually over the time period. It may improve or it is going to be degrades also. So we cannot say that. So we cannot assume that today itself we cannot identify whether the customer or whether the person is going to be a defaulter or a non-defaulter. We cannot identify him. So then in that cases, what we are going to do that? In that cases, what we are going to do that? We cannot identify. So obviously banks will have some defaulters. So 10 to 15% defaulters is not, it may be a small number actually, guys. If I give a loan to, for example, 1,000 people, that means almost all 100 to 150 people are becoming defaulters. If you assume that on an average, each loan amount is 5 lakhs, imagine that, guys, how much loss to the particular company. Let us imagine that 5 lakhs to each customer. If I have such kind of 100 customers are there, imagine that how much loss to that particular company in a particular year of time actually. So what the banks want to do is they want to identify. That means they have a lot of customers data with them. They have a lot of customers data with them actually, guys. In the past, who are the defaulters, who are the non-defaulters, we have the data with them. So what the banks will think is, can't you predict? That means, can't you have at least some assumption that this person is going to be becomes a defaulter, this person is going to be non-defaulter? So before giving a loan, these are all our past customers data. So nowadays, earlier we don't have a data, but nowadays a lot of data has been accumulated for us. A lot of data is available with us. So now the banks, what they are doing it actually, guys, if you can understand this data or if you can analyze this particular data, understand, and it is going to be, you can say, analyze the data. Once if you analyze this data, the past customers data, you will get some kind of an insights. We are going to be getting some kind of an insights. We are going to get it actually, guys. We can get some kind of an insights. What do you mean to say an insights? Insight is nothing but what do you understand from that particular data? So you may get some kind of an insights like who are going to be defaulters if the age is between somewhere around 28 to 35 years of age. Whenever the age is between 28 to 35, whenever the salary is going to be less than 40K, and whenever the loan amount is going to be more than, let us say, 5 lakhs, and whenever the duration is going to be less than 3 years or something like that, they are becoming defaulters. 80% chances that they are going to be defaulters actually. Let us say that is what we have been understood from the data. That is what we have been understood from the data actually, guys. So in that case, what we can do is, based on this particular understanding, whenever a new customer comes, what we are going to do, you will try to find out, is his characters are matching with this particular data. Whenever it is matching with this particular data, you can predict he could be a defaulter in the future. That's why don't give any loan or go for more and more verification. Just take care before giving a loan to this particular customer. Please take care. 80% chances that he is going to be a defaulter actually. Okay. So that is going to be what we are trying to understand from that past data. But problem here is data is not a small data as compared with the earlier. We have a very large volumes of data. Large volumes of data, a lot of columns are there, a lot of features are going to be there actually. So the dimension is going to be very higher dimension data actually. So to analyze this kind of a data, what we are trying to do is, guys, we are taking the help of some kind of a machines. What the point, guys? To understand these huge volumes of data, we are taking the help of some kind of a machines. We are going to take it actually, guys. So give this data to the machines. Machines are capable to understand that particular data. And these are going to be the insights which machines are going to be finding it actually, guys. Maybe you'll get it out. Sir, can the machines can learn? Yes, absolutely, guys. Machines are capable to learn now. Up to now, whenever we go to any programming languages, guys, that means whenever we went to any programming languages. Okay, so why do you require a programming language, first of all? Why do you require a programming language, guys? Whenever I say why should I require a programming language means, hope you remember, machines cannot understand the human language. Machines can't understand the human language. That's why the machines has to be instructed with some coding. Why do you require a programming language? Why? Because is machines cannot understand them. Machines cannot understand them actually. Being the machines cannot understand our human instructions, it is going to be nothing but we have to write a program. We have to write some kind of a program. We have to write it actually, guys. Right? We have to write a program. But now the machines, now the experts are saying that from all these years, from decades of time, we are writing some code. We are writing some logic. Okay. And why the machines has to be always, it should be instructed. So observe simple technique actually, guys. When I give the input as 10, 20, if you want to get 30 as an output, you have to write the code for addition of two numbers. We have to write something like an addition of two numbers. We have to write it. Now, what the experts are saying it actually, guys, what the experts are going to be saying is, why should I, from so many decades of time, we are writing all this particular code, we are going to be writing it actually. Why not the machines can understand? That means if I give 10, 20 as an input, if I want to get 30 as an output, why can't the machine can understand that it is coming by the addition of two numbers? It is going to be coming as an addition of the two numbers. So why the machines cannot study them? Why the machines cannot understand them? That is what we are talking about that. So don't think that this machine learning has been started in the recent years. It was successful in recent years actually, guys. But it was started around in 1959. It was started actually, guys. It was initially started by a computer expert who is an expert in gaming, who is working in IBM. His name is Arthur Samuel. I'll talk about this history later actually, guys. In 1959, around in 1960s, it was started actually, guys. At that time only, these computer experts has started verifying why every time you have to write a program. Hope you understood, guys. Normally in a programming language, they will give the requirement. If input is 10, 20, if your output should be 30, you please write the logic for that. In machine learning, what we are saying is, if input is 10, 20 and output should be 30, the machine will identify that, how this 30 is coming from that particular input. It will decide whether you have to add the two numbers, whether you have to subtract the numbers, whether we have to multiply them, or whether we have to divide them or something like that. Okay. So machines are going to identify that it is coming due to some addition of two numbers, or it is coming due to the subtraction of the two numbers, something like that actually. So give the data to the machine. Machines are going to study the data. Okay. And it is going to get you some kind of an insights. Now, based on these insights, whenever that means the future customers actually, whenever a new customer comes, so whether to give the loan or whether not to give a loan, so we can decide it actually, depending on some kind of a rules, what the machines has been studied about that. That is what we are trying to do it actually, guys. That is what we are trying to do it actually, guys. That is all about how we are going to be gets working with this particular, the concept called as a machine learning. So what is machine learning is all about, guys? So giving the data to the machine, it is nothing but giving some data to the machine, and we are going to make the machine to study the data actually, or we are going to make the machine to learn from that particular data actually. Based on that, the machine will start learning whatever it has been learned or whatever it has been understood from the data. Based on that, we are going to be doing some kind of predictions, what we are going to do it actually, guys. It's all about predictive analysis. Understand the past and based on that, predict the future. If anybody asks you like whether today it will rain or not, or whether tomorrow it will rain or not. So will it rain tomorrow? For example, if anybody asks you, how do you analyze it actually? How do you do it actually? It's not like we are going to toss a coin and we are not going to say that if it is head, it is going to be something, or if it is a tail, it is going to be something. So what happened in the past 10 days? From the past 10 days, every day at some particular point of time, it was raining actually. From past 10 days, it was raining. Today also it was raining. So chances is that tomorrow also it will rain actually. But how we are able to say? It is depending on the past 10 days experience. But for example, if you ask a scientist, the geologist or something, if you ask about those, the whatever that particular department, they will look at the whatever the satellite pictures and all these things, they will say that. But as a layman, as a normally we are not about the satellites pictures and all these things. So we don't look at the satellite pictures and all these things. From the last 10 days, it was raining. So chances is that tomorrow also 90% chances that it will rain actually. So understanding the past and analyzing the past and predicting the future. But here the machines are going to be taken the help actually, guys. Machines are going to learning the data actually. But sir, how the machines can learn actually? If machines are learning automatically by themselves, then what is our work actually, guys? Machines can't learn automatically by themselves, guys. There is the main powerfulness. The main powerfulness is going to be the algorithms actually, guys. They are called as machine learning algorithms. Maybe while you are learning some languages like C, C++, Java, you maybe heard about something like a sorting algorithms. Okay, same as it is, here we are going to be learning something about what we can say about is, guys, we are going to be gets working about something called as the machine learning algorithms is what we are going to be using them, guys. We are going to be using some kind of a machine learning algorithms, what we are going to be using it actually. We are going to be using a machine learning algorithms actually, guys. So here, that means as part of our machine learning class or a data science class, understanding all about this particular algorithms is only the main important topic actually, guys. It is going to be the main important topic is going to be understanding about this particular algorithms. So we are going to learn all the kinds of algorithms. We are going to learn it actually, guys. We are going to learn about all kinds of algorithms. We are going to be learning it actually. Okay. So that is what exactly we are going to be doing as of this particular application, guys. As of this application, we are going to be doing it actually, guys. Okay. So what about the concept actually, guys? We are going to be studying about how these algorithms are going to be gets working. How these particular algorithms are going to be working is what we are going to be trying to understand it actually, guys. Okay. So simply it is not going to be learning a programming language, or it is not going to be learning any tool. We are not going to be learning it actually, guys. Main important is we are going to learning about some kind of an algorithms. So how the machine will learn? Machine can't learn it independently by itself. It is going to learn with the help of some kind of an algorithms. It is going to learn. So what are those particular algorithms? How that particular algorithms will work? What is the maths and stats behind that particular algorithms? That is what we are going to mainly we are going to study in this particular class. Not only that actually, guys, there are multiple skills are going to be required actually. Technical aspects, I will discuss it in the next class, guys. What are the technical aspects? I'll tell you in the next class. But mainly in our classroom training, in our class, in our sessions, we are going to learn all about this particular algorithms only, guys. There are different algorithms like decision tree algorithm, something like we are having something called as an KNN. We have Navi Bayes, we have random forest. These are all some kind of an algorithms actually, guys. Just for a quick understanding, I can tell you, you can just go online and you can search about what are going to be machine learning algorithms actually, guys. You simply say, what are going to be machine learning algorithms? So mainly you should be an expertise in them actually, guys. Mainly you have to be familiar with this kind of an algorithms actually. Okay. Don't worry about that. They will talk about 11, 15. Don't count them. We are going to be having some kind of an algorithms, what we are having it actually. Just an example, guys. Just I'm showing you some kind of an online resources I'm going to tell you. So top 10 machine learning algorithms for beginners actually. So we have a different types of algorithms, like you can see them. Like as I told, decision tree, KNN, which is going to be K nearest neighbor algorithm, which is going to be linear regression, logistic regression, SVM, support vector machines, random forest, dimensionality reductions, gradient boosting, and ADA boosting algorithms. These are going to be some of the algorithms. Every algorithm is going to work by using some kind of what we can say is some mathematical concept will be there. So we have to study about those particular mathematical concepts actually, guys. So that is what I'm going to explain as part of our training, the main training curriculum. We are going to be discussing about that. But to implement this particular concepts of machine learning, we have to use some kind of a language we have to use, isn't it? We have to use some kind of a language we have to use. So which language we are going to learn? So to implement this machine learning, guys, mainly popularly, we have two languages are there. Anyone guess? Which languages are mostly used for popularly for machine learning?
So Python and R.
Yes, absolutely. It is going to be Python and R actually, guys. So don't think that Python learning, sir, anyhow, again, you came to programming language. No, you cannot treat the Python and R as a programming language, guys. We don't write any like a lengthy programs like what we write it in Java or whatever we are going to write it in other languages. We don't do them actually, guys. It's a learning is very, very simple. Python is a very simple language, guys. A very simple language and very easy language it is going to be. So as part of our course curriculum, we are going to be learning both Python and R. End to end, I am the only trainer, guys. Okay, I'm an expert in Python as well as an expert in R. Expert in Python or R means I'm not an Python expert. To implement machine learning, whatever the Python that is required, in that I was an expert with that. That's it. Up to my scope and my knowledge is only up to the data science, AI, machine learning concepts only if we implement them. So whatever the Python concepts that are required for our concepts, up to that extent, I'm going to teach you guys. I was an expert in that. And also an expert in the R language also. Actually, I started my data science with R initially in 2017. Initially, I started in R and then I moved to Python actually, guys. So most of the people who starts with Python, they can't become an expert in R because they don't like to learn the R. It's a little bit difficult, guys. Only 10% people will be there who are an expert on Python and R. Remaining 90% people, either they may be expert in Python or expert in R. But experting in both Python and R is going to be a very few people will be there. So I was one of the expert guys where I can teach you both. I can work with both Python as well as I can work with the R language also. Both of them I'm going to be working with them. I'll use some topics in R, some topics. Most of the topics I do it in Python only, guys. But some of the topics I'm going to teach you. It's not just like an outline of the R. We'll go a little bit in depth into the R language, guys. Almost all somewhere around 10 to 15 days actually, guys. Almost 2 weeks of time. Almost all 2 weeks we are going to be spending on the R language. We are going to do that actually. 2 weeks. It is very quite similar to the Python only, guys. Whatever the implementations we have been done in Python, all implementations we can do it as part of the R language, what we can do it. So I'll show you all that kind of a skills, guys. All that skills, whatever you have been done in Python, same skill we are also going to be doing in R language also. We are going to be doing it actually. That's not a problem in that. Okay. So that is going to be one of the programming language or scripting language what we have to learn. And mainly we are going to learn with respect to the Python and R only we are going to learn, guys. Mainly we are going to learn with machine learning. Our main topics. I'll share you my course curriculum also, guys. Machine learning and deep learning, and which is going to be nothing but NLP. These are all going to be the main important core concepts we are going to learn it actually, guys. In depth about them. Machine learning from end to end, we are going to learn it actually, guys. Deep learning and NLP also. At least we are going to cover the major concepts of NLPs and deep learning concepts. We are going to learn it actually. And along with that, we are also going to learn about a big data systems. As I told you, it is going to be big data systems also. We are going to work with them, which is going to be Spark. Even I was a specialist in Spark also actually, guys. So nowadays, you are hearing about a course actually, guys. They are talking it as an Azure Databricks. So the name is, so many people does not knows about this actually, guys. The things that Azure Databricks, ADB, there are going to be gets calling it as actually. Azure Databricks is nothing but it is working with the Spark actually, guys. It's actually Databricks integrated with the Azure. It is not a Microsoft product actually, guys. It's a Databricks is actually a product. It's not a product actually, guys. It's a platform which was created by Spark community. They integrated this Databricks into Azure as well as it has been integrated with Amazon or it has been integrated with the cloud. You can work with any one of them. So Databricks is integrated with Azure as well as Amazon as well as cloud. I'm going to be working with the type of a big data systems. A little bit introduction to Hadoop, okay, MapReduce programming, some kind of an Hive or some kind of an Pig and some Scoop. Okay, these are all some kind of an Hadoop frameworks actually, guys. A little bit introduction with them, and we are going to be getting working with the Spark actually. So don't think that we require some kind of an Azure account or something like that. It's not required, guys, because from the Databricks, we have a community edition is there. I'll tell you guys later. I'll tell you. Community means it's a free account actually. So this is actually Databricks actually, guys. If you want, you can go to the databricks.com. Go to databricks.com actually, guys. This is actually the databricks.com. So this Databricks only, guys, it will be integrated with your Azure account. If you go to the Azure account, if I just go to, you can open you can open your Azure account actually, guys. It's not a big problem actually. Just go to the Azure account. There you will be having some different products are there, and go to the analytics. You can see it actually, guys. Can you see? Design the AI with application Spark based analytics. It is that same Databricks only. The same Databricks which was integrated with the cloud technology. Same thing I can do it here, as well as same thing I can do it here. But if you want to do it in Azure, you have to pay some money. Whenever you want to work here, we don't require to pay any money, because here we are having some kind of an community edition is going to be there. We'll work with the community edition. Is what we are going to be working with them actually, guys. Okay. So that is what I am going to be talking about that. So learning a data science, I told you, no, it's not only just to know about a Python or something like that. It's not sufficient. Even I am also going to be an expert in Power BI tool. So even I am going to teach you Power BI. It's not in depth about them, guys, but with some basic knowledge of whatever we have the skills, you can learn the Power BI very easily. Hardly maybe somewhere around 7 days actually, guys. 1 week will be for Power BI. Okay, and big data systems are going to be somewhere around 2 weeks. We are going to be working on the big data systems. Maybe 2 weeks we are going to be working. Something like that. But main concepts are going to be, guys, machine learning, deep learning, and NLP. These are the main topics we have to be working with them, guys. So machine learning will take somewhere around 4 to 6 weeks. It will take it actually, guys. Even deep learning is also going to take somewhere around 4 to 6 weeks. It will take it. NLP will take another 2 more weeks. It is going to take. So all this is going to be added up actually, guys. Okay. But you have to spare some time actually, guys. It is not just like a 2 months course. Okay. 45 days. Nowadays, I can see, guys, this Databricks, Azure Data Factory, ADF, ADVs, all these are saying that 45 days courses are there. But this will take somewhere around 4 to 5 months. It is going to take it actually, guys. That means almost all somewhere around 20 weeks it is going to take it. Almost all 20 to 22 weeks it will take it actually, guys. So that much vast concepts are going to be there. As I told you, machine learning 4 to 6 weeks, deep learning another 4 to 6 weeks, NLP is going to be 2 weeks, Hadoop is going to be another 2 weeks, Power BI is 1 week, R and Python, R language is going to be another 2 weeks, prerequisites another 2 weeks. So hardly it is going to be somewhere around, which is going to be somewhere around 20 to 22 weeks. It is going to take it actually, guys. It's a little bit a time taking course actually, but the advantage is, guys, we are having the option for multiple roles, because you can also become a Spark expert here. You can become a Power BI expert here. You can apply the jobs related to machine learning. You can apply the jobs related to deep learning. We are having a job opportunities to NLP. NLP is currently the hot jobs actually, guys. NLP is having a huge requirements as of now. You can go to naukri.com and you can check it out. NLP engineers. So the role is going to be what we are going to call it as NLP engineers actually, guys. You can just go to that NLP engineering and you can check for the jobs. All are the latest jobs actually, guys. All of them are going to be the latest jobs only. Let me check it out once. NLP engineer actually, guys. NLP developer or NLP engineer, what we can call them as. So what is NLP actually, guys? It's a natural language processing. It is what we are going to call it as a natural language processing, what we are going to be talking about them. Okay. Now, if you can observe carefully, guys, these are going to be the latest jobs actually, guys. All these things you can see 1 day ago, 2 day, 1 day ago. Okay. You can see it actually, guys. 6 days ago is what we can see. Okay. So all of them are going to be some kind of a latest jobs only. Just skip them 30 plus days of time. But whatever the latest jobs we are having it actually, guys. Whatever the latest jobs we are going to be having it actually. So if you just filter them, you can find it off. So all of them are going to be just as hardly it is going to be 6 days ago. Okay, 6 days ago, 1 day ago, what we can see it actually, guys. It's an something like an which is going to be the terms we can see it actually. What are the terms we can see it actually, guys? NLP, Python, big data frameworks, SQL, NoSQL, something like that. NLP, machine learning, Python, TensorFlow, PyTorch. These are going to be some kind of fun. So you can see Pune, immediate opening is going to be there on NLP related concepts. Got the point, guys? So these are going to be some of the skills what we have it actually. So instead of learning only one single technology and applying the jobs only based on the single technology, you are having a multiple skills we are going to be having it actually. Yes, we have a multiple skills are there. Okay. So you can just apply for different roles. We have a multiple opportunities are there. Work as a machine learning engineer, go for a deep learning engineer, NLP, or even we can go for a like which is going to be big data engineer or a Spark framework or a Spark expert or a Spark engineer, we can call them as. Okay, you cannot go to Azure actually. It's an Azure only. We are going to learn some kind of a skills. And even if you want, you can go for Power BI tool. You can learn the things more and more. You can learn the things on the Power BI and you can learn the things actually. I'll tell you like what are the main concepts you have to learn. Remaining, you can just expand them and explore them and we can get a more and more expertise on that. Because by this time only it is going to be 4 to 5 months of time. So automatically it will take, if you want to learn about more and more, it will take a lot of time. It is going to take it actually. Okay. So that is an idea about just an idea about like what is we are going to be doing in data science, guys. So it is going to be understanding the past data and based on that, we are going to be predicting the future actually. Okay. So for that, we have a different skills are required like machine learning, deep learning, NLP, big data systems, Power BI, Python, R. Okay. These are some of the techniques and skills that are going to be gets required actually. As we said that it is an interdisciplinary field actually, guys. Learning not only just one skill and just going ahead is not possible. Multiple skills are going to be required actually. Why do you require multiple skills? We'll look into that particular discussion in the tomorrow's class, guys. Okay. So just for today, we'll end up the session for today, guys. Okay, so I can spare another 10-15 minutes of time as you require, no problem. So if you have any questions from your side, feel free to discuss with me, guys. Okay, any technical aspects or any non-technical aspects, you can just discuss with me, guys. If you have any questions regarding the data science and all these things, right? Go ahead, guys, if you have any questions.
So we'll be having machine learning projects also in this course.
Yeah, see, the first thing is going to be nothing but see, learning this machine learning is not like learning with some small samples of data, 2 records, 3 records, 5 records. We cannot do it, guys. So for every machine learning example, we have to take some kind of a real data sets. We are going to take it actually. Okay. So you can say every example which we do it in machine learning is going to be some kind of an, what we can say that some kind of an POC actually, some kind of a project we can say that actually. Yes, absolutely. To answer your question, absolutely we'll be having one project on that. But apart from that, each topic you are going to learn is going to be like a project only. Because I'm not going to work, we are not going to work with employees data, departments data, customers data. We can't work with that kind of a data, guys. We don't work with that kind of a data actually. We are going to work with some kind of a real data sets. They are real data sets. There are public data sets, guys. Public data sets means which are available for public. Anybody can access this particular data actually, guys. Like for example, just now we are talking about a bank's data actually, guys. So we have a bank data is there. Multiple bank data are there with us. I have a data called as an, which is going to be credit.csv file. It's not like an we made the data actually, guys. How much data you can make it manually, guys? 100 records, 200 records, we can make it. But see the data actually, guys. How much data it is going to be, we are having it actually. So this is the data actually, guys. A real data set actually. It's a real data set only, which is going to be publicly available. Anybody can access this data. Real data set contributed by real-time experts so that anybody can access this data actually. See guys, how many columns of data we have? It is containing somewhere around 21 columns of data actually. It is containing somewhere around 21 columns of data and having somewhere around 1000 records of the data. So working with this data, we are going to be doing this. So absolutely, as part of your question, yes, we'll be having a project will be there. Apart from that, every example we'll see practically is going to be, we'll work with this kind of a data sets, guys. Not just by taking some employees data, departments data, customers data. We don't do that kind of an examples. Okay, fine. Yes. Yes, Srikanth. As I told, it is not about your what is your past. Okay, how much is your experience does not matter. Do you have any prior knowledge of any programming, Srikanth? Okay, that is sufficient. That is sufficient. With that knowledge, we can learn Python. It's not all about any programming part actually, guys. Data science is not about programming. As I told, some kind of a skill, some kind of a technique, I'll explain them. To implement the technique, we are going to use as this programming languages. But you have to understand only the technique only, we have to understand it actually. Okay. So understanding about the technique is important, but implementation is going to be very easy actually. Okay. Fine, Shrikant. Yeah, guys. Hi, sir. Good morning. Is there any prerequisites and how many classes we have per week? Yes, Ajit. It is going to be 6 days a week, guys. Okay. We cannot have 5 days a week because you know that how much vast syllabus is going to be there. So even if we take a 6 days a week also, it is going to be taking more and more time. So it is a 6 days a week. We give off on Sunday actually, guys. Sunday is an off. And how many hours of time? It is going to be 1 hour 15 minutes will be there for the class timing, guys. 1 hour 15 minutes is the time. It's a class timings actually. 1 hour, 1.5 it won't be 1.5 hour, but 1 hour 15 minutes is going to be the class duration. Like that, you will be having, which is going to be 6 days a week. We are going to be having the classes actually. Okay, fine. Right. Sir, I'm from Sundar. I'm from 2017 passed out with no experience in IT area. Gap, can I get a job? Yes, absolutely. You can get a job actually. It's not I told you now, guys, it's not about programming. It is going to be just like a research. You have to research with the data. We have to research with the data actually. So if you have that kind of a skill to work with the data, that is sufficient. You can just go ahead and you can do some analytics on that particular data. All about working with the data only, guys. No programming language, no computer skills, nothing is going to be required. If you have some understanding, if you have the skills to understand the data, that is sufficient to understand these particular applications. Okay. So absolutely, without having some experience also we can put it. But being you are 2017 passed out and already we are almost into 2023, it is going to be almost all, which is 6 years of time. So we cannot put a gap of 6 years, but please, you have to fill up at least 3 years. You have to fill up with some fake experience and we have to do that. Okay. Yes, placement assistance will be there as well as placement support will be there from my side, but that is not going to be, we don't have any completely like an guaranteed placements are not there, but placement assistance and placement support will be there. Whatever the support you require, whatever the assistance is going to be required, I'm going to give you guys. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Ajit, every day to day, you will be getting the recording sessions as well as whatever the notes I'm writing here, as well as whatever the code I'm going to write it, everything we are going to write it actually. We'll get the recording videos. Okay. Yes, Sundar, skill is going to be important, isn't it? We don't here. Python is a very simple skill only, guys. Python is going to be a simple skill only. Just to get some idea I'm talking about. Don't worry. Just in evening 8 p.m. batch, we started with the first machine learning algorithm, guys. I started with my first machine learning algorithm in the evening 6 p.m. batch. I have been started actually, guys. Yesterday only it has been got done. This one. Just have a look at the code once. Books we'll be having a lot of books are there. Okay. Nowadays, nobody is reading the books actually, guys. We are depending on the blogs only. I'll guide you. I'll tell you some few blogs I'm going to tell you. Like one is going to be towards datascience.com. So this is going to be one of the online resources, which is best actually, guys. all which is going to be the towards the datascience.com. Everything is going to be towards the datascience.com. And we have another repository called as an Kaggle is there. Sorry, it's a Kaggle. We are having something like an Kaggle is going to be there. So Kaggle is one repository. So there we can save your notebooks. We can make any repositories. Okay, these are my notebooks actually, guys. These are my notebooks actually. Okay, so we are going to be having some kind of a notebooks. We can write them. We can maintain all the repositories and all these things. We can maintain it actually. Okay, so like this, we can work with them. This is my page actually, guys. You can see my name, Sri Vamsi Krishna Guttula. And this is going to be my whatever that particular the page and my repository is going to be gets maintained actually. Okay, so something like that. We have some different. I told you, public data sets are available. So these are all public data sets actually, guys. So if you want to know about public data sets, we are having it actually. Like whatever the data, analyzing the customer spending habits are there. You can get the data. You can get some kind of a lot of data is there with us, guys. You can get that particular data, analyze them, and whatever you want, we can work with them. You see the picture also actually, guys. So he's looking like a scientist. He's having a long hair. So looking, you know how the scientist will be there, no, guys. Okay. So he's having a long hair actually, and he's working with the data only. You can see that the picture is also is just telling the same thing actually, guys. This is going to be the Kaggle, and we have a different types of resources are there. We'll use as that kind of a resources for our implementations. Right, Shrikant? Right, guys. Anyone, guys? Any more questions? Any technical questions I'm expecting, guys? It's not like whether you do a project or not. I'm expecting any like kind of a technical knowledge or technical questions if we
So
have.
we'll be using Jupyter Notebook.
Yes, absolutely. These are all Jupyter notebooks only. For Python, we use Jupyter notebooks. For R, we use R Studio. We're going to use this. Okay. Right, guys. Any more questions, guys? If we have any.
Will there be any projects?
Yes, there will be.
Which we will be doing?
Yeah, we will be doing a projects also. As I told you, every example is going to be like a project only for us. It's not like you can see this. Actually, I didn't scroll it. Actually, this is the recent one which we have been got done, guys. So see, different skills are required. I think you know this skill actually, guys. What do you call this skill actually, guys? Data.
Scatter plot.
Scatter
Okay.
plot.
What is the skill is called as? What is the skill?
Visualization.
Okay. Visualization. It's going to be some kind of a data visualization. We are going to do it actually, guys. Okay. And this is going to be like what our machine has been learned. See, guys, this is what my machine has been learned actually, guys. I didn't written any functional code. Just I given the data and ask my machine to learn it actually. Machine has been learned. So this is the output of that particular machine. Normally, how it is coming, nobody can understand that. Maybe nobody means who has non-data science people cannot understand. But this picture, anybody can understand it actually, guys. This picture, anybody can understand it. You can see something like if the weight is less than or equal to 138, it is an orange. If weight is more than 138, what we have to do? You can understand that kind of the tree. That is a decision tree actually, guys. That is how my decision tree will be coming actually. It is an algorithm, a very popular algorithm in the machine learning concepts. Okay. So we learn all these skills actually, and then finally we go for the machine learning implementation. So every day class notes will be coming like this actually, guys. Can you see? Like every day, 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m., 8 p.m. is there, 9 a.m. is there, 7 a.m. is there. Okay, we have the classes actually. 9:30 p.m. also we have a class actually. So yesterday's 9:30 p.m. What class we have been got discussed? So this is an yesterday's class actually, guys. So yesterday I started with random number generations in Python. So it is going to be by using a NumPy library. So it is going to be some kind of a random number generations actually, guys. How do you generate some random numbers? How to reshape them? Those are the skills we have been got learning about that. These are all some kind of a prerequisites to learn about the machine learning, right? Okay, so don't worry about them. Just to get some idea, I'm talking about them actually, guys. Okay, fine. Any others, guys? Any other questions? Fine, guys. Let's end up the session for today, guys. So tomorrow, same time, same link, guys, at 8:30 a.m. So tomorrow we'll connect at the same time, guys. So hope I'll see you all of you in the tomorrow's class and have a nice day. Have a nice day, guys.
Thank
I'm
you,
ending
sir.
the session, guys. Thank you all of you for attending the session, guys. Thank you all of you once again. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, good morning, all of you guys. Hope all of you can hear me. You guys, can anyone hear this?
Yes, you are
Right,
audible.
right. Just a second once. Yep. Yep. Right, guys. Just a second once. Let me close. Right. So, guys, in the last session, we are trying to understand like what is the object-oriented programming concepts. That is nothing but, in short, we are going to call it as the OOPS concepts. What we are going to be gets talking about that. So we are only learning the concept of OOPS. We don't do the implementation, but we are going to use the concepts actually, guys. We are going to use the concepts related to that particular OOPS concepts. We are going to be implementing them. Why? Because Python is going to be Python is completely follows that particular object oriented style of programming. So like yesterday, we have been discussed about that prior to the object oriented programming concepts, we used to write something what we used to call it as a procedural style of programming. We used to follow it actually. The best example is going to be nothing but it's like a C language. So C language is a procedural style of programming. So which basically writes everything. That means whatever the functionality you require, everything we are going to write under a single block only we used to write it actually. Like yesterday we have been discussed. Like whenever we are working with something like a student's data, for example, whenever we want to work with some kind of an student's data actually, let us say that we have a 50 students are there. So we have to work with something like an student IDs. With 50 student IDs we have to declare, and the names also we have to work with a 50 names. And let us say that there are marks 1, 50 marks 1, and 50 marks 2, and 50 marks 3. So generally it is not, generally when you go to the real applications, this may not be a kind of an static numbers actually. These are not going to be a kind of a static numbers. They are not going to be static numbers. I cannot say that, okay, we cannot fix like we'll be having only 50 students will be there. They may increases or they may decreases. According to that, we have to handle it actually. And not only working with the students data. So when you're working for some kind of a business applications, we have to work with a different, like for example, if I talk about some data related to some sales data. So sales means it is not only working with the sales, you will be having the sales data, you will be having the customers details, we have their employees details, we have the product details, stock details. So we'll be having a lot of other kind of an informations. So basically in a procedural style of programming, the main problem they used to face is, so we have to write all the functionalities, all the subjects need to be so due to that, there is a lot of conflicts between them. And basically the declaration of these variables is a very big headache for that actually. So there the object oriented programming style has been came actually. So these experts of object oriented programming, the object is saying that why do you combine? That means whenever you are having 50 students, why should you declare 50 variables like that? Why should you declare 50 names like that? All students will have the same specification. So whenever all of them are having the same specification, why should I go for that many variables like that? You are saying that every student is having an ID, every student is having a name, every student is going to be having the marks 1, every student is going to be having the marks 2 and marks 3. Then why we have to work like that? Why can't you declare only for one time, and why can't you use it for multiple times actually? So there the research has been started, and they have been got successful in implementing those particular concepts as part of the object oriented programming style. So what is object oriented programming style says is, you are working with some kind of an object. So object means it is not going to be something like in our real life what we'll say about an object. Object is nothing but which that exist in a real life or which exist in the real world, which we can touch and feel. Even according to the object oriented, a student is also going to be a kind of an object only. A car is an object, a mobile is an object. For example, let us talk about an object called as a mobile. For example, let us talk about my mobile actually. Let us talk about my mobile. Yes, it started. Guys, all of you can hear me now? So Lalit is saying, yes, yeah, just a minute. Right. Let's continue, guys. So what we are talking about here is, let us talk about a mobile. So let us say that everybody is having a mobile, but all of them belongs to the category of mobile categories only. So all of them are mobiles only. Every mobile may have a different specifications. Like for example, if I take about my mobile, for example, my mobile, if I take it, then it is going to be like, what is going to be the color of the mobile, like which company has made it, what is going to be the something like in screen size, what is going to be the storage, or what is going to be the storage actually, what is the RAM size, etc will be there. Like for example, whenever I take some X mobile, for example, some X person mobile actually, so color is, let us say, red, make is going to be by an Apple, let us say screen is going to be something like an 6.1 or something like that, storage is going to be 128 GB, like that the data will be there. If I take some other, if I take, this is a mobile of some kind of an X person. Whenever I talk about a mobile of a Y person, let us say mobile Y, same color is going to be, let us say, a blue. Let us say make is going to be something like a Samsung. Maybe a screen is going to be 6.3. Let us say that storage is going to be 64 GB. Something like that, the data will be there. So every mobile that exists in this real world will be having the specifications, will have the same specifications only. Like one mobile can, let us say that a mobile cannot have something like they cannot have something like an types, like something like a bike or a car. So some mobiles cannot have something like a types. Okay, or some mobiles cannot have some other specification, like which is going to be how much speed it is. It may be a RAM speed it is going to be, but like how much which is going to be the torque, or how much which is going to be the power generation. It does not have that kind of a specifications. So every mobile is going to be having the same specifications. So whenever all of them are going to be working with the values may be different. The parameters and the specification values may be different, but they will contain the same type of a specification. Every mobile will have a color. So let's say it's a blue or a green or a white or a something, there will be some kind of a color will be there. So they will be having some kind of an which is a make. Some company has to make it. So we cannot say that this mobile was made by some company which we don't know. There is some company, it may be a Samsung, or it may be an Apple, or it may be some other company, what it may be. So all the mobiles that exist in the real world is going to be having the same specifications. So whenever all these objects, that means all these items are going to be coming under the same category, what we are going to call it as which is going to be what we are going to call it as a mobile actually. So according to the object oriented programming style, I'll come back to the students data and the teachers data separately. First, just generally to understand the concept, I'm discussing about that. So whenever we are talking about the mobile, so why we have to define the specification for each mobile individually? So why we have to define the specification for each mobile individually? All mobiles, all that particular objects belongs to the same category called as a mobile. So define the specification of these particular mobiles only for one time. That specification is going to be nothing but just we are going to call it as a class. So what is a basically class contains? Basically a class is going to contains which is going to be nothing but the specification of that particular objects actually, guys. So as I already told you, even if you do not have any idea about any programming language also, just try to understand the concept only. It's not a mandatory that we have to learn that particular practical implementation. Okay, so what is a class actually? A class is going to be nothing but just contains a specification about that particular objects actually. So whenever the objects belongs to the same class, whenever they belongs to the same class, so we are talking about an object, isn't it? That object, all objects we are going to be talking about is going to be belonging to, for example, something like a class called as a mobile class actually. Like for example, we talk about something like an cars. So we are having, which is going to be something like which is going to be some kind of an class, what we can say, like a cars. Cars, all cars are going to be having the same specification, like again the color, make. Okay, so they will have a common properties will be there. Like every car is going to be having the, let us say, the four wheels only. They will be having it actually. So like different engines capacities or different seating capacities and different torque and different power or different speed, different fuel consumptions will have it actually. So values may changes actually, but specification remains the same actually. So what the object oriented programming says is define your specification, which is what we are going to call it as class, isn't it? So we are talking about an object which is belong to a mobile class. All the mobiles are going to belongs to one class. All the cars are going to belongs to one class. Class is nothing but a category, right? A simple, we can say that it's kind of a category, what we can say that actually. So all the laptops are going to be one class. All the mobiles are going to be one class. All the cars are going to be one class. It can be anything, whatever. All the tabs are going to be belongs to one class, etc. So what this says is just define the class only for one time. So class is nothing but just the specification. Let us say that class mobile, and within the class we are going to be defining them actually. Like what is going to be the color, what is going to be the make, what is going to be the size, or what is going to be the size, and what is going to be something like an storage, etc., etc. is there. Okay, so define the specification. It may be a color is a string, make is a string, size is a float, storage is also an integer. It can be anything. It can be less. Okay, so I'm not talking about what type of data types there are. Just I'm defining them actually. Color, make, size, and the storage. This is what we are going to call it as the specification about your object, or I can say the description about your object, which is going to be nothing but what we are going to call it as a class. Now, from this particular class, we can create some kind of an object can be created actually. So mobile is a class, isn't it? So mobile is a class. So I am using a one of the object which is going to be belonging to that particular class. Let us name my mobile as something like an X, for example. My mobile, let us name it as an X mobile. Okay. So whenever I said mobile is Samsung, there are so many Samsung mobiles are there in the world. Whenever I said it is an Apple mobile, it is going to be so many are going to be there. So for example, I am using my mobile name is going to be something like an X. So what is that X is going to be nothing but X is going to be nothing but just it is a reference to this particular an object which is created by using this specification. So they are only specification only. The class is going to be contains only the specifications. So it is going to be, let us say, something like a prototype. So from that particular prototype, we are going to be developing the real existing item, which is going to be nothing but it is an X. Now here, X is nothing but what we are going to call it as an object. From this particular specification, it's need not to that you can create only one object only. You can create as many objects we can create it. There is nothing like you have to create only 3 objects or 4 objects from the specifications. You can create infinite number of objects. For example, once a prototype has been got developed, like for example, we know that the companies like which manufactures all these mobiles, internally in their labs, first there are going to be developed some kind of a prototype is going to be developed it actually. So you know what is meaning of a prototype actually, guys, which is basically used for the development of the testing of the developed product actually. Some kind of a prototype they will develop it. Once a prototype has been developed, once a prototype has been successful, then they can generate some infinite number of products from that. There is nothing like we can generate only these many, we can generate it actually. So here in this case, X is going to be the object of the class called as a mobile class. Y is going to be an object of the class called as a mobile class. And Z is also an object of a mobile class actually. Let us say that X is going to be the mobile which I use. Y is the mobile which is going to be my family members are going to be using, maybe my son. And the Z is going to be nothing but the mobile which my daughter is using actually. So within my home, I am going to be using 3 mobiles. All the 3 mobiles are having 3 different specifications. All are mobiles only. So I am not saying that I am using a mobile, my son is using a tab, and my daughter is using some other thing like a car. I'm not talking about like that. All of them are using the particular mobiles. So all of them are created from the same class, what we are going to call it as the mobile actually. So what is meaning of an object? So generally in a real life, normally in our real life, what is an object? An object is nothing but that exists in this real world, which we can touch and feel. So mobile, I can touch and feel. So let us say that it is going to be like a laptop, I can touch and feel. A car is there, I can touch and feel. Generally in our real life, object means generally which is not only just our imagination. So it is going to be nothing but what we are going to call it as an object which we can touch and feel is nothing but we call it as an object actually. That means which exists physically is what we are going to call it as an object. Which occupies some space, which contains some volume is going to be nothing but what we generally call them as an objects actually, isn't it? Same as it is, as I told you, class is only just a specification. It does not exist. It does not exist physically. It is only just a specification what we have been defined actually. So let us say that in my brain, in my imagination, I'm trying to develop some kind of an object actually. So there is some object is there. The object is going to be something like a triangle in shape, which is having some kind of a blue color. Okay, it is containing some holes on that particular triangle, and it is going to be a kind of an 3D view. It's a 3D shape actually, not just a 2D shape. A triangle which is containing a 3D shape with some holes in that. That is all about my specification actually, guys. So you didn't understand what I'm talking about. You cannot, because that object does not exist. Whatever the object I am talking about, so I didn't talk about that but object with reference to some object I already known about that. So just the words has been came, but I never known about whether really that particular item or that particular whatever that object is going to be gets existing. So that is going to be my prototype. That is going to be my prototype actually. So now what I'm saying here is if I bring that prototype into some reality, that particular reality object, the reality item is nothing but what we can call it as an object actually. So I just I brought that into reality. For example, something like an which is going to be a triangle with a 3D shape of triangle, which is going to be gets contain some holes inside that, which is a green color made up of something like a plastic or something like that. I have been just made it actually. So how it is going to be, gets done. So that is going to be from the prototype only. I'm going to be bring that into some kind of a reality actually. Okay. So the object is going to be nothing but the item which exists physically. Same in a computer science, in our object oriented programming also, the same thing is going to be happens actually, guys. The same thing is going to be happens actually. Yes, Aditya Varma, I think already we have been discussing, no? It's an you are joined for the second class. Okay. Nothing has been happened actually. Just a basic concepts has been happened. I already told you yesterday, I think. So it's not a number of classes. It is going to be, let us. Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So it is just an basics only. Just I started with some basics of Python. Just a few classes just I have been taken on that particular. Normally, just like in any language, how do you have some basic data types and all these things? Only thing is I have been started with something called as a list, and even that also has been not done. But you can just follow the classes, and if you're really interested to take up the session, so you will be getting the recorded videos of the missing classes. You can just go through them and you can cover those particular topics.
Okay, sir.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Right. Let's continue, guys. So what we are talking about here is about the object actually. So what is meaning of an object actually, which is going to be exist physically, is what we are going to call it as an object, what we are going to call it as. Okay. Now, same idea in a computer science, that means in an object-oriented programming also, we know this actually, guys, all these computer science techniques and technologies are inspired by our real life events only. They don't directly come from space or something like that. They don't come actually, guys. So it comes from the human intelligence only. So like how the real life events is going to be inspired from the real life events only, we have been this technology and all these things will be developed only. Okay, so based on our real life like this, what is an object and what is a specification, same this object oriented programming also follows that particular same style it is going to follow actually, guys. So a class which is going to be nothing but what we are going to call it as a specifications, and the object which is the item which is prepared from that particular specification is what we are going to call it as objects. So these objects will be stored in our computer actually, guys. These will, as I told you now, object is going to take some space actually. So when I buy a car, the car is going to take some space. It is going to occupy some space actually. Same as it is, these objects are going to take the space in the computer memory. This specification does not take any memory actually, guys. They don't exist because they don't exist physically. They don't consume any memory at all. But objects are going to consume some memory actually. So in computers also, the specification will be only just our imagination. Whenever we bring it to reality, that reality is going to be nothing but what we are going to just call it as an object is what we are going to call it as actually. Object will take some kind of a space actually. Okay. So now I'm not talking about any particular language actually, guys. I'm not talking about a particular language, but just to understand like how the object is getting created. How do you create an object, we can say. So just an idea I'm talking about, a general discussion of how to create an object actually. So in a computer science, how do you create this object X actually, guys? With a mobile, with the class which belongs to class called as a mobile. So it is very simple actually, guys. Simply it is going to be like this actually. Mobile X is equivalent to, which is going to be a new mobile. That's it. So X is an object. You are saying like this actually, guys. X is going to be nothing but an object which is created from the mobile class, which is called as a new mobile. I'm manufacturing one new mobile from that. So X is going to be an object which was created from the mobile class. So this is the general way. No need to by heart it actually, guys. Simple. What is the name of the class? What is the name of the object is equal to new. What is the name of the class actually? Now, how do you create this Y object actually, guys? Anyone, guys, can you help me? How to create the mobile Y object actually, guys? Yes, guys. Speak out. How do you create the Y object actually, guys? How do you create the Y object now?
Mobile Y equals to new
Yes, simply it is going to be mobile. Yes, absolutely. Mobile Y equals to what we have to say, guys? New mobile. It's a new mobile. So X and Y are going to be two different objects. X and Y are going to be two different objects. This is, as I said, that this is my mobile. This is going to be my son mobile. There are both are two different objects actually, but both of them has been created from the same class, what we are going to call it as mobile class. So X is also belongs to mobile category. Y is also belongs to the mobile category. Maybe there are two different objects actually. They're not maybe, they are two different objects actually, guys. So like that, it's not restricted like you have to create only 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or 100 or 1000 or million. You can create as many objects we can create it actually, guys. As many objects. Now let us have a discussion like what happens when you say X actually, guys, when you created an object. As I told you, internally some memory will be allocated, guys. The name of the memory you can just imagine, like I don't want to make it confusion actually, guys. Let us say that the memory will be allocated. Space. Some space in the computer is allocated actually, guys. Where that particular the memory name is X, which contains all these specifications, guys. Like you will be getting the color, you will be getting the make, you will be getting the size, and you will be getting the storage actually, guys. Got the point, guys? Just a minute. So X is going to be nothing but an object. So remember, guys, whenever I create an object, what will happen? The object is created from a particular class. Class will contain some specifications. We never create an empty specifications like this actually, guys. Simply, I don't say that just a class mobile and just I don't define it as an empty. So every class is nothing but some specifications. You are saying that class, you are defining a specification about an object. Some specification must be there. Like previously I talked about. I have some object in my mind. Simply if I say there is an object in my mind, so can you imagine the object means? Can you identify the object means? You can't identify. If I tell some specification, it is like a three-dimensional object. It is going to be a triangle which contains some kind of an holes on that. Then at least you can imagine like what kind of object it could be there. It's a pyramid. So you're saying that it's a three-dimension shape which is going to be gets contains. So it is going to be, maybe I can say that it's like looks like a pyramid. Some imagination is going to come. Simply if I say that I have some object in my mind, can you tell me, can you imagine that particular object or can you identify the object? Nobody can do that. So same as it is, every object will have some kind of a specification. That specifications are defined in your class. So whenever I created an object called as an X, internally some memory will be allocated. In that memory, all these particular variables, these are nothing but variables only now. Color is a variable, make is a variable, size is a variable, storage is a variable. All these variables are allocated. A Y object now. Whenever I create a Y object, what is going to happen? Again, the same thing. Again, a memory is allocated, and that is going to be the Y. But it is also going to have the same color, the same make, the same size, the same storage. Something like that. Like that, if I create a Z object, again another memory is allocated. Then obviously you'll get it out. Sir, how can you refer them? That means, how can you reference them? How can you differentiate between the color of X and the color of Y? It's very simple style of programming, guys. So very, very simple. You have to use a dot notation. Anything in the object-oriented style, we have to refer through its name of the object, not name of the class. It is a name of the object actually, guys. So what we have to say, simply like earlier, I don't say color. I say X dot color. So it's very clear. I'm referencing to the color of this X object. So color is equal to red. Let us say that what is X dot make is equal to nothing but, I'm talking about only the make of the X object only. What is X dot size? Maybe it is 6.1. What is X dot storage? Let us say that it is going to be 128, for example, GB it is. Then how we are referring to this particular Y color actually? Same notation actually, guys. It is going to be Y dot color. Let us say Y dot color is equal to blue. Y dot make is equal to something like an Samsung. Y dot size is equal to something like which is going to be, let us say it is 6.4. And Y dot what is going to be storage? Let us say that it is going to be 64 GB of the space, what we can talk about them actually. Got the point, guys? So once if you define the specification, once you are working with the same specification multiple times, why should I define that like that? So for example, you're talking about a students. So every student is having a student ID. Every student will have a student name. Every student is going to be having something. So whenever we are having the same specification for everybody, why should you define that specification for multiple times? So define the specification only for one time, which is nothing but what we are going to call it as class. But from this particular class, you can create as many references you can create it. So if I talk about a technical definition, actually, guys, maybe some guys who has been already having the all knowledge about what is going to be the object oriented. So I'm talking about a technical definition, actually, guys, which is going to be object is an instance of a class. Object, what is an object? Object is an instance of a class. It's a technical definition, but I'm not talking about the technical way. Just in a general discussion, we are discussing it. So what do you mean is an object? An object is nothing but any item which exists in the real world, which we can touch and feel. What is a class? Class is going to be just contains the specifications about the object. Class does not take any memory at all, whereas object is going to take some memory, because only whenever object is created, internally some memory is going to be gets allocated to that. Internally, some kind of a memory is going to be allocated to that, actually, where we can have some reference with the help of the name of the object, actually. So we have to refer like that, actually, guys. We cannot say simply color equals to 100. We cannot say that, or color equals to, for example, I cannot say white directly. So we have to refer to that, whether it is belongs to X, or whether it is belonging to Y, or whether it is belonging to the particular Z. So everything should be referred with respect to the object name. So there is no conflict here, actually, guys. So whether you are talking about X dot color, whether you're talking about Y dot color, that is what is the basic thing is which we have to refer here, actually. That is basically the concept about the basic style of object-oriented programming, guys. Just it is a basic style of object-oriented programming. So define your class. First of all, you have to define your class. Each class is separate. Each class is separate. So don't combine the mobile class and a laptop class into a single class. All the specifications of laptop in a separate class, that is in a separate specification, and all the specification of that particular, what is going to be, we are talking about the laptop, that is going to be a different specification, what we can talk about them. Okay, so something like that, we are going to be using this kind of an. So laptops will have a different specifications. So laptops is going to be gets contain something like how many, which is going to be USB ports are there. So is there any HDMI port is there? Is there any LAN port is going to be there? Isn't it? Is it containing any something like an the disk drive? What is going to be the that drive is going to be there? Can you put some CDs and all these things? That particular disk drive is there or not? Like that, we have a specifications. But whenever you talk about a mobile is not going to be having any USB ports. Mobiles will not have any something like an HDMI ports, actually, isn't it? So maybe in the future they may comes, but as of now, so they don't contain any some kind of an USB ports and all these things. We don't have it, actually, isn't it? So whenever the objects are different specifications. Whenever the objects are same, then we are going to be having the same specifications. Like that, it's not only talking about the students, it's not only talking about a mobile. So any class that exists in the real world, we can define it, actually. Anything you can define it, actually. Okay, so the definition of an object is nothing but object is a nothing but an instance of a class. That is a technical definition. What textbooks and all these things will be there. I'm not using any, as I told you, I'm not going to use any technical words here now. Just to understand what is meaning of an object, what is meaning of a class, what we are going to talking about that. So I'm adding one small terminology I'm going to be adding. So what is this color? What is this make? What is the size? What is the storage? They are nothing but which are variables only, guys. Variables which are basically used to represent some values. Isn't it? Why do you require variables in a programming in our computer science, actually, guys? So let us say in maths also we'll say that no. Let us say, so let the age of a person is equal to X. So X is nothing but some variable, actually, guys. You know what is the difference between a variable and a constant? Constant means which does not changes at all. Variable, the name itself is variable. Variable means which can varies. So today that X may contain 10. Tomorrow the X may contain 100. It's not that we always has to fix like X is equivalent to 10 only. You can have anything, whatever you want to have it, actually, guys. So these variables are nothing but just, you can also call them as variables, but whenever it comes to the object oriented, slightly there is going to be a difference is going to be there, actually, guys. The difference is going to be nothing but what we are going to call it as which is going to be what we are going to call it as an, what we'll say it actually, guys, they are going to be nothing but what we are going to be gets calling it as an attributes, what we are going to call it as, guys. Simple. They are going to be what we are going to call it as an attributes. Okay. So this color, make, size, and storage, these are nothing but what we are going to call it as attributes, what we are going to call it as. Okay. So attributes are nothing but just the variables which are going to be used to represent some values actually, guys. So see, guys, three terminologies we have been discussed. What is a class? What is an object? What is an attribute? As I said, that class is going to be nothing but it's a specification about an object. An object is nothing but an item which is existing physically, which is derived with the help of that particular class specification. What are attributes? Attributes are the members. You can say there are the members of the class which are basically used to hold the data. How do you represent that variables? It is simply not class name dot attribute name. Actually, we have it actually. For example, if anybody having or already idea about the object oriented style, they will get a different questions. So because again, we have a different discussions are there actually, guys. There are something called as an instance and members, static members are there. Instance and members means we have to create an object and we have to access them. Just an idea I'm talking about that. For example, if I say color is going to be a static member actually, guys. No need to create an object X and no need to access. Simply, I can say mobile dot color. I can say it actually. You can simply say mobile dot color. What we can say it actually. That is what we call it as a static member. What we can call it as. If you just that means it's not a mandatory to learn, but just if you want to understand them. What is meaning of an instance member? What is going to be meaning of an instance member? Instance, the spelling is wrong. Yeah, it is going to be instance versus, which is going to be nothing but what we can call it as a static variable. We are going to talk about them. Simple. It's a simple technique actually, guys. I'm not asking you to go internals. Instance members are created when an object is created with the use of the keyword called as a new. I told you no. With the whenever I use a keyword called as a new, and destroyed when that particular program stops. Instance members can be accessed directly by calling the variable name inside that particular class. You can directly say class name dot, we can access it actually. So I don't want to go internals into that. Just if you are having any doubts, that means if you get any something like somewhere you have been having some confusion. So without clarifying that, you cannot go away. So just try to read some. I'm not asking you to study them. Just try to read some articles. Just I want to clarify, because some people may get it out. Vamshi, you are teaching something wrong, which is going to be. So just to clarify them, I'm not teaching anything wrong here now. I'm just minimizing the discussions actually. That is mainly my main agenda here actually, because we are not here to learn any programming languages. Right, guys. Let's continue, guys. So once again, I'm talking about the variables which are part of this particular class, which are used to hold the data or hold some values, are nothing but what we call it as attributes. And how to access the attribute names? Simply by writing the object name dot attribute name. That's it. X dot color, Y dot color, X dot make, Y dot make, X dot size, Y dot size, X dot storage, Y dot storage. Okay. Now let us come to our main discussion actually, guys. Like for example, we are talking about some kind of an students and teachers data actually, guys. So what I'm going to do now, simply I say class, which is going to be nothing but it's a student. Actually, this is not the actual syntax actually, guys. We have to specify the data types and all these things. I'm not talking about them. Just I'm declaring some variables. I'm just using some variables actually, guys. Class student, which is going to be having something like an ID. We have a name. Let us say this, guys, we have marks 1, we have a marks 2, and we have a marks 3. Let us say this actually, guys. ID is an integer, name is a string, M1, M2, M3. They are nothing but marks actually. Like again, I can define another class called as which is going to be, sorry, not student class. Let us say that it is going to be a class called as an teacher class. So let us say that I'm working with a school project actually, guys. So whenever I'm working with a school project, you will be having there are employees, they will call it as actually. There also we have ID. They also have the name, but they don't have the M1, M2, M3. If they have the same M1, M2, M3, we'll put all of them into the same class only. But here I'm not doing it actually, guys. Name, and I'm going to say that maybe they will have some salaries. Like what is HRA, or what is going to be, let us say, TA, what is going to be something like an DA, something. Let us say what is going to be the basic salary, okay, and how much is the tax we want to pay it actually. Something like this actually, guys. So observe carefully, both are two different classes. Previously in a procedural style of programming, the teachers and the particular students, all of them used to come into the same level. They used to be come under the same block and we used to write it actually. But completely we are isolating them. So these variables cannot be mixed up with this. These variables cannot be mixed up with this. Now the first student came. So I told you, no, which is going to be student, which is going to be S1 is equal to nothing, but I say which is a new student actually. When it happened, what happens? I told you, whenever S1 object is created, immediately all these attributes will come here now. ID, name, and M1, M2, M3 automatically that comes here now. Now you can define it. What is S1.id? Let us say is equal to 1001. S1.name, let us say the name is going to be Vamsi. What is going to be S1 dot, which is going to be M1? It is equal to, for example, 82. S1 dot, which is M2, which is going to be, let us say, some 80. And S1 dot M3, which is going to be, let us say, 86, something. But there is no conflict between one variable and the other variables actually. That means one object and the other object, we are not going to be getting this kind of an applications. Okay, now another student came. No worries, you need not to replace s1.id with the other student name. You can create another object. So you can create another object actually. Don't override them. So whenever another student comes, immediately don't say s1.id equals to 1002. We are overriding the values actually. Is equal to nothing but I said which is going to be some kind of a new student. I'll say that actually. So S2, immediately again the members will come actually. The attributes will come. ID, what is going to be the name, M1, M2, M3, something like this we can get it actually. Now again the same technique we are going to be writing it actually. What is S2.id? Let us say that it is going to be 1002. S2 dot, which is going to be a name. Let us say that I'm saying that he is Rajesh. Like this, which is going to be S2.m1, which is going to be something like an 86, S2.m2, which is going to be something like an 78, and S2 dot, which is going to be M3, let us say that it is 90. So we are not overriding the variables actually, guys. And we are not restricting that you have to work with only two students only, we have to work with them actually. So like that, you can define. Now, do you want to define a teacher's data? Same object actually, guys. Let us say teacher T1 is equal to, which is going to be nothing but it's a new teacher. Teacher is a class actually, guys. Whenever we create a new word, then only a new object is getting created. Now, immediately the T1 will be referencing to this. So S1 was created from a class called as a student class. So whatever the variables you define, only those variables will be referred. Now T1 is not it's not an object from student class. It is from teacher class actually. So ID will come, name will come, HRA will come, TA will come, DA will come, and a basic will come, and some tax will come actually. Now how do you refer them actually, guys? Don't say ID. T1.id it is going to be, let us say something like an 4001. T1 dot, which is going to be name. Let us say that it is Shweta. Like that, I'm going to be using some names actually, guys. T1 dot, let us say some kind of a basic salary, some 5,000. T1 dot, which is going to be HRA, let us say some 3,000. T1 dot, which is going to be TA, let us say something like an 2,000 or something. T1 dot, which is going to be DA, which is going to be 1,500, something like this. T1 dot tax, it is going to be something like around 2,500 or something. We have to pay the tax actually. Like that, you can clearly separate it actually, guys. Clearly we can separate it. Really, Object-oriented programming has brought all these particular, really, whatever we are using as of now, guys, the technology what we are using is actually the possibility is due to this object-oriented programming only, guys. So really, after the incoming of Java, .NET, and all these things only, all these particular so and so lot of technologies has been became, and even the programming part also has been became very easy actually, guys. It is completely due to this object-oriented programming style only. The completely due to the object-oriented programming style, this programming also has been become very simplified. Otherwise, previously we used to suffer a lot. We used to suffer a lot actually. So many bugs are going to be there. It is due to some kind of an conflict with the variables. Now see, very clearly I was able to separate them actually. So do you want another teacher? So again, you say that another teacher has been came. Teacher T2 is equal to nothing, but it's a new teacher. There is another student has came. It is student S3 is equal to new student actually. Like that, you can just refer to a different objects and we can work here now. So S1 is an object here. S2 is an object here. T1 is an object and T2 is an object. This is your object. But every object is created from a class. From which class it was created? This is going to be nothing but it's a class. Anyhow, I don't want to add up them. But the guys who has been already studied object oriented, they knows that it is actually a constructor actually. Don't worry guys. No need to worry about what is that constructor and all these things. Not required. It's not required actually guys. It's a constructor. So constructor is nothing but a function which is going to be exist with the same name of your class. Actually class name is teacher, but I'm writing teacher and open and close the parenthesis. Actually, if you want, you can pass some arguments also. We can pass some arguments. It's a function actually, guys. That is what we are going to call it as a constructor is what we are going to call it as actually. Okay. So don't worry about that. It is just a reference discussion only, but not a mandatory discussions are not required actually, guys. Okay. So these are all, whatever these variables which are holding the data, they are nothing but what we are going to call it as attributes actually, guys. So these are attributes. So attributes belongs to the particular class. Which class? It is going to be nothing but it's a teacher class. Attributes, which is going to be of the student class. But how to access them? Object name dot the attribute name. Object name dot attribute name. Object name dot it is an attribute name actually, guys. Okay. So this is all about some discussion about, I told you 4 terms actually, guys. Class, what is object, what is meaning of an attribute, and what is meaning of a method. These are the 4 things I have to make you understand it actually, guys. Okay. These are the 4 things. Even I'll show you the reference also for that. If you want to study a little bit. So I prefer to go to this particular w3schools.com. So I think most of you are familiar with this w3schools.com. Nowadays, most of the people are learning from this W3. Go to the Java. Why I'm asking you to go to the Java? I can also go to Python also. But in Python, it's a little bit confusion for you actually, guys. There is something called as an object-oriented concept is required actually. But again, if you want to go for that, there may be a little bit confusion is going to be there. That's why better option we are also having. Python is also an object-oriented programming style only. Again, the same discussion, guys. There is nothing difference is there actually. There is nothing difference is there, but you will get confused with that actually. You will get confused with that. What they are writing, all these things, they will confuse with that. That's why the better option is better to go for the Java, guys. Better to go with the Java learning. In the Java, you will be having, which is going to be, go to Java actually. In the Java, I'm not asking you to learn all these things actually, guys. Just what is going to be the Java OOPS concepts. OOPS concept is common actually, guys. It's not like in Java, it is going to be one type of object oriented. When you go to some other, it is going to be. It's not like that actually, guys. Okay. So just an idea like what is OOPS? OOPS provides a clear structure. It provides a clear structure of the program. As I told you, it provides a completely a clear structure of the program actually. OOP is faster and easier to execute. That is one advantage. Main advantage I told you actually, guys. OOPS helps you to keep the Java code dry. Dry is nothing but don't repeat yourself and makes the code easier to maintain, modify, and debug actually. I told you, So you can make it maintain, everything is going to be maintain a simple code only, we can maintain it actually. Okay. And we can do oops makes it possible to create a full reusable applications with less code and which is going to be shorter development time actually. Okay. So it is going to be the one what we can say is, so it is going to be, as I told you, don't repeat yourself is nothing but principle is all about reducing the repetition of code. You should extract out that particular codes that are going to be common for the applications and place them in a single place and reuse them whenever it is going to be instead of repeating it actually, guys. Just you can see there. Okay, it's a general ideas only, guys. There is nothing technical concept is there. I ask you to learn only three things actually, guys. Four things. What is going to be oops basic concept? What is a class? What is an object actually? What are class attributes? What are going to be attributes actually, guys? Attributes are nothing but they are nothing but the variables actually, guys. The variables which are going to be part of a class is nothing but what we are going to call it as an attribute. Or simply you can say that it's a class attribute or variables within that particular class actually. So just nothing matters. It's not a matter about that. Just no need of running all this particular code and studying all these things. It's not required for you. But just an ideas like which is going to be, just if we can go through that, we can understand it. What are classes? What are objects actually? So what do you mean to say class? Class is just only a specification actually, guys. Class is going to be just a specification. Everything in Java is associated with classes and object, along with its attributes and some methods. Methods we have not yet discussed. For example, in a real life, a car is an object. The car is going to be having some attributes like weight and color, and the message and the methods like drive and the brake. I'll tell you that what is going to be actually. Okay, so leave it, does not matter. So a class is like something like an object constructor, or as I said that it's a blueprint for creating the particular object actually. Just read them, guys. It's not that you have to mandatorily we have to study them. You don't go to beyond that. That means don't go in depth about them. Just I'll tell you once again. Go to the W3 schools, and there you can find out something called as a learn Java. So I'm not asking you to learn the Java syntaxes and all these things, Java output. I don't require. There is an Java classes are there. Just these four topics, guys. Java OOP, Java classes and objects, Java class attributes, Java class methods. Even I use a term called as a constructors. Don't use it actually, guys. Leave it. Remaining is not required for us. Okay. So hope you are able to understand that particular. We are able to follow the today's class, guys. So anyone, guys, any questions? If you have, we can have a discussion. If you have any questions, guys, we can just spend some 2 to 3 minutes if you have any questions. Right. So hoping everybody was able to follow. It's a very simple topic only, guys. It's a theory concept only. It's not any practical concepts. So leave them. It does not matter with them, and we'll work on that actually. So just for today, we'll stop it here, guys. So tomorrow we'll also have a discussion on that. I told 2 days. Tomorrow also we'll work on the methods. And once you go for the methods, actually why we are learning all these things actually, guys. Yesterday I told you, like when I created a list in Python, whenever I said X dot actually, guys, do you remember, guys? When I said X dot, X is a list. For example, X is equal to 10, 20, 30, 40. Whenever I said X dot, there are some names are coming actually, guys. Like it is append, something like a count, and something like a clear or something like a copy. We are getting some names actually, guys. So to understand that particular names only, we are studying about this object-oriented programming concept, guys. Okay, so that's it for the today's class. Just for today, I'll stop it here, guys. We'll continue in the tomorrow's class. Thank you all of you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Hi, good morning, all of you guys. Hope all of you can hear me. Hey guys, can you please confirm guys? Is I'm audible?
Yes.
Right guys. Thank you. So guys, let's continue from the last discussion, guys. So in the last discussion, that means in the last session, what we have been got that discussed here is basically to like understand what is object oriented programming style, like how the object oriented programming style will work actually. So that is going to be something which is going to be different from, which is going to be something different, which is going to be something different from the procedural style of programming actually. So what do you mean to say procedural style? We have been got discussed. So everything we are going to be writing within the same under the same level or under the same block we are going to write it actually. So instead of that one, whenever we go for this particular whenever we use this kind of an object oriented programming style, it is going to be something which is going to be different. So what the object oriented programming recommends is, instead of combining all your subjects, that means whenever we are working with a different subjects here now, why do you combine all of them? So go for only a single variable or a single specification we have to go for. So that specification, so whenever we are working with the same copies, whenever we are working with the multiple copies of the same item, instead of defining it for multiple times, let us define only for one time only. Like yesterday we have been got discussed, like which is going to be class students, and where we are going to be having the ID name, and we are having something like marks 1, marks 2, marks 3. This is going to be what we are going to be gets talking about that. So all this ID name M1, M2, M3, all of them are going to be working at the same level that are going to be gets working actually. All of them are going to be working at the same level there are going to be gets working actually. So there is no conflict with that. Like whenever we work with the teachers data, so it is going to be class which is going to be teachers actually, and same ID but which is going to be something like a name will be there. But this ID and this name does not conflict this ID and this name. Why? Because these are going to be works under the students data, and these are going to be works under the particular the teachers objects, what we can say that ID name, let us say, which is going to be, let us say we talk about the salaries, like how much is the basic salary, HRA, TA, DA, and how much is going to be the tax, etc., will be there. So this is what we are going to call it as the specifications about the objects, which we are going to be what we are going to call it as a class. So how do you create an object of a class? We have been got discussed about that. It is class, which is going to be S1. Sorry, not class. What is the name of the class? The name of the class is going to be, it is going to be students S1 is equal to nothing but we'll say, which is going to be something like a new students, what we can say that actually. Then immediately this object will be referred by whatever the variables we have been got referred here now. They will automatically comes under this. So these objects does not comes actually. Why? Because this is an object of which is going to be of a class Claudezen, which is going to be student class. Whereas whenever we created something like an teachers T1 is equal to new teachers, then automatically all these particular whatever the methods, whatever the variables which we define is going to be comes into these variables, like ID name, which is going to be basic, and which is going to be HRA, TA, DA, etc., is going to be gets coming under this particular T1 object actually. So like that, how many objects you create, for each object automatically all these variables are going to be gets referred and it can be inherited to them actually. Anyhow, they are called as attributes. I told you how to access the attributes. I told you it is s1 dot id, like s2 s1 dot, which is a name, which is going to be something like this. What is going to be the s1 dot, which is going to be m1, and what is going to be s1 dot m2. Like that only we have to define it actually, guys. What is s1 dot m3, which is going to be some values like this actually, guys. So whenever I create one more object, again S2, again S2 will have a different copy. S3 will have a different copy. S4 will have a different copy. Like the T1, T2, T3, all these are going to be having a different copies. So these variables which are holding the data, they are nothing but what we are going to call them as an attributes, what we are going to call it as actually, guys. Now, Today we are going to be starting with something about what is a method actually, guys. So method is nothing but it is a kind of a function actually. Maybe most of you have been already worked with functions, or even you have been not worked with the functions. At least you have been heard about the functions actually, guys, right? Just a minute. At least you have been heard about the function. So generally, who is having some idea about at least some programming language? Any programming language, it may be a C or a C++ or a Java or a .NET, any programming language, at least they will have a minimum knowledge of functions concept, because every language will have some concepts. Every language will have this common concept called as an functions concept. It's not only going to be part of the Python. In every language, without having the functions, we cannot work with the languages actually, guys. Anyhow, in Python also, we have a complete discussion about the functions concept is there. We have a separate discussion specifically for functions. But for the timing, let us say that in mathematics, we have been got defined actually. What is going to be f of x is equal to, let us say, x square plus 3x plus 6. Simple, if you said f of 1 is equal to, what is f of 1? Wherever in the place of the x is there, you will place this particular y actually. So let us say 1 square plus 3 into going to be 6, which is going to be nothing but 9 plus 1, it is a 10. Maybe you can say f of x comma y. You know what is meaning of f of x comma y? F is a function of x and y. That means the function f is defined as a function of two variables called as an x and y. It depends on two variables. Let us say something like an 3x square plus, which is going to be 4xy, plus, for example, it is 2y plus 10 actually. Just an example I'm talking about. Now you can pass the two variables. Let us say if I pass 2 and 3, you know what is an output will come actually. 3 into x square is equal to 4, because x is 2 here now. 4 into 2 into 3 plus, which is going to be 2 into 3 plus, which is going to be 10 actually, guys. So that is going to be gives you the result as, which is going to be something like n. Just this, right. So that is going to gives you an output which is going to be something like n. 3/4, which is going to be 12. 4 2s
52.
8, 8 plus 3 is going to be 24, 22, okay, whatever maybe 6 plus, which is going to be that 10 is an output, what we can get it actually. Is it 52, right? 2 3 4 5, okay, 52 62, 2 3 4, oh, okay, 52 actually. So just that is going to be nothing but in the mathematics we have the functions concept actually. Same as it is in our computer science also, we are having a kind of a functions. Anyhow, as I told you, I'm going to tell you about a little bit more about the functions later. So as of now, it is going to be something like this. What is a function? A function is going to be something like a reusable code actually, guys. In a simple, in our programming part, in a computer science, functions are going to be nothing but the reusable code actually. That means whenever you want to perform some operation for repeated number of times, we are going to write, instead of writing the functionality for repeated number of times, write it only for one time and use it and call it as many times you can call it actually. So just I'm talking about a general function. The function in computer science, like for example, the function return sum in mathematics.